Live from our studios here in Kokomlemle, Accra. This is News Today. I am Emefa Akosia Adati. Good afternoon. On top of all this afternoon, government still owes independent power producers over $700 million as JoyNews research shows amount paid so far is less than 50% of legacy debt-owned producers. Would have details plus analysis as IPPs blame previous political interferences and issues of transparency as key factors that dwarfed the growth of the power sector.
I would say it is still an ongoing process. We are not yet out, but all the same, government has shown good faith, so we are grateful for that. And it has actually injected good energy and confidence in the sector.
This afternoon, lawyers for former Finance Minister Ofori-Atta slammed Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine for publicly disclosing a new investigation into his alleged offshore dealings, despite the probe being inconclusive.
If you are investigating something and it is not conclusive, what is the purpose coming together next? So that you start courting public hatred, you start courting prejudice, you start courting hate for the man.
Bank of Ghana opens an audit into financial transactions in the Gulf Oil Program, which was terminated in 2025 after a $2.2 billion loss between 2022 and 2024. We're live at Parliament, where the Ghana Revenue Authority is chasing a number of offshore oil companies to recover close to $2 million in rental fee default. Watch us live on DSTV channel 421 and GoTV channel 125 and all of our social media platforms and across the world on myjoyonline.com. Join us, independent, fearless and credible. Please stay for details. I appreciate your company this afternoon. First in the news, lawyers for former Finance Minister Ofori-Atta have slammed the Attorney General Dr. Dominic Ayine, accusing him of recklessly parading an unfinished investigation into alleged offshore dealings in the public domain, despite the probe remaining dangerously inconclusive. Dr. Dominic Ayine on News File with Samson Lading revealed that his office is working closely with foreign investigators to track what he claims are offshore dealings linked to the former finance minister, who is currently being held in ICE detention in the United States. Dr. Ayine said international cooperation is underway to follow these dealings outside Ghana.
So you know that even from day one, I didn't make this public, but I started investigating Ofori-Atta. All right. In fact, in his case, I'm doing it with, some foreign investigators that are tracking, all the offshore dealings and so on, all right? And then, of course, we are also doing our own investigations here. They are inconclusive as we speak. I mean, we have not, come to any conclusion. So
this is different from the SML?
It's different, totally different, and, okay. and potentially mind-blowing, but I that I will not give any details at this point in time. So I started working with the Americans in respect of Ofori-Atta long before OSP, came up with their announcement. Yeah.
Speaking on a news desk this morning with Mamiesi Nyameche Thompson, member of Ofori-Atta's legal team, Frank Davis expressed huge disappointment in Dr. Dominic Ayine's posture on an inconclusive investigation.
He tells the Attorney General, when people get the opportunity to talk to him, tell him that he is an Attorney General of the Republic. He is not an acting general. He is an Attorney General, not an acting general. So this public gimmickry, theatric, and unuseful and useless, that's not constitution. We have seen a lot of regionals. Don't play the kind of character he is taking upon himself. It is cutting a very bad name for that office. You come on radio and you come and talk and say like that. If you are investigating something and it is not conclusive, what is the purpose coming together next? so that you start courting public hatred, you start courting prejudice, you start courting hate for the man. This is the work of the man. I'm disappointed.
No, but Frank, do you know about these investigations is what I would want to clarify.
If I knew, I want to answer you the way I'm answering. You are asking a question. You don't decide what I say in answer. So let me tell you what I want to tell you. There is no such investigation to the best of my knowledge. And he himself is saying that it's not conclusive. So if it's not conclusive, what is this business of it is mind-blowing? Mind-blowing. If the Attorney General says he's investigating something, he should terminate the investigation and charge the Ofori-Atta and stop coming on radio and doing what he's doing.
The current update is that the former finance minister will face an immigration court in the United States on January 20th. Now, away from that, an update on the accident that happened on the Accra-Kumasi highway. Now, the Ghana National Fire Service has blamed driver negligence and the deteriorating condition of the Kumasi-Accra highway for the rising number of road accidents along the stretch. The concerns follow a fatal crash at Mankron on the Accra-Kumasi highway on Sunday, January 11, which claimed 1 life and left 37 others with varying degrees of injuries. The accident involved a 40-seater Zongtong bus and a manned diesel truck, both of which were in motion at the time of the collision. Eyewitnesses say the bus was overspeeding, but it rammed into the truck. To help us understand what may have caused this crash, we're joined via Zoom by the Public Relations Officer for the Ghana National Fire Service, DO2, Ignatius Kwame Beidou. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. And so, for your initial findings, what factors may have contributed to this accident? Kindly unmute if you can hear me. We'll try and reconnect with the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service. If you can hear me, your preliminary investigation, what is it suggesting? If you can hear me, shall we know what exactly may have contributed to that accident on that stretch? Now, the Ghana National Fire Service has blamed driver negligence and the deteriorating condition of the Kumasi-Accra highway for the rising number of road accidents along the stretch. Now, the concerns follow a fatal crash at Mankron on the Accra-Kumasi highway on Sunday, January 11, which claimed 1 life and left 37 others with varying degrees of injuries. The accident involved a 40-seater Zongtong bus and a manned diesel truck, both of which were in motion at the time of the collision. Eyewitnesses say the bus was overspeeding before it rammed into the truck. To help us understand this, we'll try again to see if we get the Public Relations Officer of the Ghana National Fire Service to give us an update. Do you hear me, sir? Well, from the Accra-Kumasi highway, I'll bring you to Accra, specifically the Tema motorway. Bring you an update on that. Contractors working on the Tema motorway expansion project have dismissed allegations of corruption and inefficiency following growing concerns from motorists over delays and safety challenges along the route. The Accra-Tema motorway, one of Ghana's busiest highway linking the capital to the country's main port and industrial hub, is currently undergoing expansion aimed at easing congestion and modernizing the aging infrastructure. Our project contractors say the traffic diversion currently inconveniencing commuters are temporary measures necessary to rehabilitate decades-old drainage system and crossing structures along the stretch. We'll hear from the project manager shortly, but first, here are some of the concerns some motorists who regularly use that route have to say. Well, we'll bring you that a bit later. But let me take you on Zoom and engage the engineer who is in charge of that motorway expansion project, Engineer Ben Saki. Thank you so much for joining us. Now, when should motorists begin to see at least some noticeable improvement on the motorway?
Thank you very much and thank you also for your listeners. Yes, we are working and doing all our best to ensure that within this year, we begin to see some asphalt activities or the pavement activities being carried out on the motorway.
You have debunked the concerns by the commuters, but prior to hearing it on our airways, did you know at least about it, whether they were just allegations or not?
Yes, they were not allegations. Some are factual because some of the allegations they have complained about. Yes, and we are aware of it. We are taking all the necessary measures to ensure that we satisfy the motorists and the pedestrians that ply on the motorway. We are not relating on our efforts. Most of the complaints I heard about has to do with dust. That is polluting the dust that is generating on the motorway. And other concerns that I've also heard about has to do with the potholes, the emerging potholes on the motorway, and then also some of our diversions that is slowing down traffic, and then also some potholes on it.
Okay.
All these issues, we are aware of it, and they are issues that we have been tackling or trying to resolve since the beginning of the construction phases. To buttress this point out, when the road was handed over to us, there was a lot of potholes already on the motorway. We started by doing a lot of patching. You see a lot of asphalt patching on the motorway. It is part of our maintenance activities, trying to ensure that the motorway still maintains e-traffic as construction carries on. Okay. So these are activities we are aware we have been trying to, we have been resolving, making sure that motorists are all the time safe. Now, when it comes to the dust that most of the motorists complain about, the dust issue, as I can say to you, we have been watering the motorway about averagely 8 times a day.
Okay.
You get it in most of the directions, yes, meaning that almost every 1 hour there is a water tanker on the motorway trying to calm down these dust issues. We have created a lot of diversions. Some are just temporary, like the crossings where culverts are coming.
Okay.
We need to divert, do a short diversions, and then try to connect the culverts in the middle portion of the concrete road. So these activities...
If I understand you, motorists would have to endure a little longer, at least, for this year before we see some noticeable improvements. This is what I hear you say.
No, what I'm saying is that motorists are not enduring. Whatever their concerns are, we are trying as much as possible to address it alongside the construction activity that is ongoing.
I mean, but generally, the construction already makes it a bit burdensome to use the route. But what you're doing is you're making it a bit motorable for us, quite comfortable. And I'm saying that with this comfort that you're giving, we must still endure because the project is ongoing before we see noticeable improvement on the road. Is this what I hear you say?
Yes, exactly.
Okay, all right.
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
Thank you.
We try to maintain, we are trying to make sure that we complete the urban highway section. The motorway, we are constructing 10 lanes. We are coming with 10 lanes. The existing is 4.
Okay.
And then we are adding 3 lanes here, 3 lanes here. Now, in order to ensure that the motorway continues to maintain its traffic, and then public are not being disturbed because of the construction. So we try to concentrate on completing the 3 lanes, additional, the other 3 lanes, which we call the urban highways. We'll complete it, and then we'll try and put the traffic on these very lanes, and then we concentrate on the concrete road itself.
Okay.
So as we speak, motorists will still have to endure implying the concrete road, the existing concrete road, and at the same time also, we are taking the necessary emerging portals, emerging issues that is coming by using the road to make sure that we repair all those things on time, and then the traffic is being maintained on the concrete road as it is until we are able to divert the road onto the urban highway.
Okay. Engineer Saki, thank you so much for joining us today on the news.
Thank you very much, madam.
Now, this afternoon, JoyNews research has revealed that the government of Ghana still owes independent power producers over $700 million, even after settling close to about $1.5 billion in energy sector legacy debt. Official records indicate that the government has already informed the IMF about its plans to settle the remaining balance owed power producers latest by 2028. Head of research here at JoyNews, Isaac Ofieje, joins me in studio with details of that computation as far as debt and repayment in the energy sector is concerned. Kofi, it's good to see you.
Good to be back.
Right. First of all, what is the legacy debt before you even go to the numbers?
In fact, this is the, let me say, old debts in the energy sector. So debt that government owes power producers, fuel suppliers, all other sector, stakeholders in the energy sector. Any debt that is owed them that has not been paid is not classified as legacy debt, and that includes the various stakeholders that we've actually mentioned. So there's a big pool that government is trying to settle the various that are owed by, owed each of the stakeholders.
Tell us about the $1.4 billion that the government has settled.
Well, in fact, since this news broke, there are so many, misleading headlines about this figure, right? This is 1.47 billion, US dollars. And in fact, this is not the amount of money that has been paid to independent power producers. We need to break this down for you to understand. So this $1.47 billion that have been paid so far, according to government's own official, data that they've released, they paid $597 million out of that to World Bank partial risk guarantee. Remember, there was this risk guarantee that went dry for a period of time. Government says that they've actually put money back into that, and so that is active now, $597 million US dollars. And a part of that 1.47 went into outstanding gas invoices owed ENI and Vitol. That's about $480 million US dollars. And there's a part that, there's been a lot of misleading headlines about in terms of the legacy debt owed independent power producers. As far as the data is concerned, based on what government has actually said, independent power producers in 2025 were paid $393 million US dollars as part of their restructuring exercise. In fact, let's try and understand the independent power producer side very well. According to the finance minister in the 2026 budget, this particular government, inherited a debt of $1.4 billion, US dollars owed just to independent power producers alone. And this debt was subjected to restructuring. And in fact, we heard the finance minister and the energy minister spoke about it, that independent power producers had agreed to accept some level of haircut, meaning that they were willing to write off a part of that debt. And according to the finance minister, over $250 million was written off. So out of that 1.4 that was owing them, owed to independent power producers, according to government, they made a savings of over $250 million. And the remaining amount is $1.1 billion. And it's out of that the government paid $393 million in 2025. The debt still outstanding, or the debt still being owed independent power producers, is $770 million US dollars. So the independent power producers, as we are learning,
I will come to you for you to even go back to that $400 million that has been making the headline as to whether it is very accurate or not. Take us back on that.
Well, in fact, this is what we've been trying to break down, that if you look at the debt owed independent power producers, according to the finance minister, That is about 1.4 billion US dollars, and this debt was subjected to restructuring. And in fact, the finance minister put out that the independent power producers had agreed to write off a significant component of this amount of money, and that savings government was claiming was about over $250 million. So if you do the math, government is saying that this part of the debt has been written off, forgiven. Independent power producers are not entitled to this amount of money anymore because they had to also sacrifice. The remaining amount that was reprofiled after restructuring was 1.1 billion US dollars. And it was out of this that the government paid that $393 million out of it in 2025. The remaining amount still yet to be paid by government as far as debt owed independent power producers is concerned is 707 million US dollars. Government has paid this amount, so remaining amount is about 64% yet to be paid. And this is the outstanding debt that government is owing independent power producers. And we understand, based on what government has told IMF so far, there is a clear plan on how to pay this remaining amount. And according to government, they will be paying this between 4 to 5 years. And categorically, the finance minister has indicated that by the end of 2028, government should be done paying the legacy debt owed independent power producers. We also understand that there is also the plan to pay IPPs over 300 million US dollars this year. And so that 1.47 billion dollars that was reported, it is not debt owed or is not what has been paid to just independent power producers, but the energy sector as a whole. The independent power producers component of that is about $393 million, and government is still left with some 707 million US dollars to be paid MFA.
That's a very much needed clarity you have just brought to the conversation. But let's now hear from the CEO of Independent Power Producers Ghana, Dr. Elikplim Apetogbo, who told Joy News about how previous political interference as well as issues of transparency crippled growth of the sector.
Shown towards the energy sector issues, particularly with the IPPs. I would say it is still an ongoing process. We are not yet out, but all the same, government has shown good faith, so we are grateful for that. And it has actually injected good energy and confidence in the sector. The sector is being reformed and it's an ongoing process. I can see the practical steps that are being taken. For instance, one critical issue is transparency and fairness in the sector, as well as independence of the sector from political interference. That was the case in the years past, and has seriously affected the growth of the sector. But you could see clearly at this time that we are gradually coming out of those influences, and that is actually having a positive impact on the sector. So, in fact, we are moving forward, and things, I believe, will get very well.
Now, on to some security-related stories. Government says it is considering extending the Ghana amnesty program following appeals from various stakeholders. The initiative, announced by the Interior Minister in December last year, offers law-abiding Ghanaians in possession of unregistered or illicit firearms the opportunity to surrender them without fear of interrogation, arrest, or prosecution. After a series of stakeholder engagements, the National Commission on Small Arms and Light Weapons says several individuals have voluntarily handed in their weapons. Speaking after stakeholder engagement with the Ghana Airports Company Limited and other airport security agencies, Deputy Minister for the Interior, Ebenezer Oklete-Telabi, said the government is reviewing calls for an extension of the program. He stressed, however, that the current deadline of January 15 remains unchanged. He warns that anyone found in possession of illegal firearms after the amnesty period will be dealt with in accordance with the law.
National assets, it serves as a gateway to our country and are central to our economic activities, tourism, and international reputation. For this reason, the role of airport security agencies in protecting the movement and concealment, the movement, concealment, and misuse of illicit firearms cannot be overstated. Your vigilance and professionalism contribute directly to the public safety and national stability. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware of the growing public interest and stakeholder call for the extension, as the CEO said, of the Gun Amnesty Program. I wish to assure you that the Honorable Minister of the Interior is giving careful consideration to these calls. This reflects government recognition of the realities on the ground and the need to ensure that no individual is denied the opportunity to comply with the law due to lack of time, information, or access. However, while this consideration is ongoing, it is important to emphasize that the amnesty is still in effect. The program provides a lawful, non-punitive window for individuals who are in possession of illicit firearms or ammunition to surrender them voluntarily or to regularize their weapons in accordance with existing laws. I therefore want to use this platform to strongly encourage all persons in possession of illicit firearms to take advantage of the Gun Amnesty Program. Surrounding such acts is not a sign of weakness. It is a responsibility that protects families, communities, and the nation at large.
Tema Apia, my colleague, was at the stakeholder engagement and joins us via Zoom with more on this. Gemma, so we know already that the National Commission on Small Arms is engaging various stakeholders, but the Ghana Airports Company, why? Gemma, if you can hear me, kindly unmute.
So, MFA, the Small Arms Commission says that the airport is one of the major entry points and exit points in the country. And so what they have realized is that some people actually smuggle these firearms in and outside of the country. And so today they are engaging the staff and management of the airport to help them understand the program, what it entails, and how they can contribute or support the Small Arms Commission to ensure that this grace period that the Arms Commission has given, people will comply with the directives, and more importantly, afterwards, so that we can have a Ghana free of violence related to guns.
That's really good to know that they've included the Ghana Airports Company Limited. But which other security and allied agencies are participating in today's meeting too?
So one of them major is the representatives of the various airlines, because we are told that the people who smuggle these firearms, obviously they use the airlines, and the airlines are supposed, or these individuals are supposed to declare what's in their luggage to the airlines when they're coming. That includes illicit firearms. And so they are here today also to listen to the Arms Commission, and also the Immigration Service, the Ghana Armed Forces, the police, the NIB, and the National Security. They are all here to also listen to the Small Arms Commission. And they're also talking to the Small Arms Commission about some of the challenges that they face in addressing this particular issue, and how they can also contribute and take advantage of the amnesty period.
So the National Arms Commission has actually said that it has made some progress. Last time I had a conversation with the Executive Secretary, but the Deputy Minister, did he at least provide some figures, at least some number of, or indicated how much the program has impacted us so far?
So what we do know is that there are a lot of people who have surrendered their illegal firearms, and they're expecting more people to do so before the end of 15th of January. That's the amnesty period. But the Deputy Minister was not categorical about the number of firearms now in their possession, or what they intend to, or the number of firearms they intend to receive at the end of this amnesty period. What they were very emphatic on was that after the amnesty period, even though there are concerns or there are considerations being made to extend the deadline, what they were categorical about was that after the deadline, anyone in possession of an illegal firearm would face the law. They said that from the 16th of January onwards, the joint security operations will be carried out at various places in the country to arrest anyone in possession of illegal firearm.
Gemma, thank you so much for the update on that. Now, away from that, management of the Ofori-Atta Teaching Hospital are compelled to detain hundreds of patients longer than medically required for failing to pay their medical bills. The rising number of indebted patients is causing a growing congestion crisis affecting bed availability, delaying surgical procedures, and straining the facility's limited resources. Health authorities say the development is placing significant pressure on the hospital's finances and its ability to meet obligations to medical suppliers. Here is a report by Clinton Yeboah.
Management of Ofori-Atta Teaching Hospital says the rising number of detained patients is placing significant pressure on the hospital's finances and its ability to meet obligations to medical suppliers. Chief Executive Officer Dr. Kwesi Beidu disclosed that some patients spend over 3 weeks in the facility upon discharge. He explains the impact of the situation on the hospital's operations.
Every service rendered here ought to be accounted for. So somebody will be asking, why is it that we discharge patients and they are still on admission? Sometimes we wish we could just tell them, get up and go home. But once you do that, the next moment you'll be at the Public Accounts Committee to answer for why patients were managed and never paid their bills. So such gestures afford us some freedom to also show some human face. There are a lot of people you wish they could go as I indicated. Because once they are here, they occupy your bed, you need to feed them. Sometimes they are here for several days or weeks. But you cannot just say, get up and go. And again, you cannot say because you are not paying your bill, give me the bed, sleep on the floor. That is not human. But that contributes to some of the congestions we have in the hospital. When you come, you see, we render a lot of services from emergency. Some may go to the theater, some may from there go to the ward. But if you need to be sent to the ward, meanwhile the bed on which you are going to occupy is already being occupied by somebody, it means that we cannot send you to the ward. So it leads to the theaters getting congested. It delays because patients who are supposed to go to theater, yes, you have theater bed, but afterwards they have to go to recovery. That cannot be done. So it trickles down, and the final thing is when the ambulance brings you, we tell you you may have to wait in the ambulance or use other facilities.
The Ashanti Business Owners Association has visited the hospital to support the discharge of some detained patients. Executive Secretary of the Ashanti Business Owners Association says their intervention will allow for the majority of detained patients to be discharged to join their families.
And our focus when it comes to needy is on patients that have received treatment but don't have the capacity to pay for their bills and that they've been detained in the hospital. So periods like this, we believe Christmas is given and putting smiles on the face of said people. So for almost about 5 years now, we've been coming to Ofori-Atta to pay off the debt of these people so that they can join their families to enjoy Christmas and for that matter, this period, the new year. So this is our motivation. Christ given, putting smiles on the deprived people so that they can also say there's love in this world.
The intervention is an annual corporate social obligation the Business Advocacy Group fulfills to assist vulnerable patients who have completed treatment but remain detained due to unpaid bills. For JoyNews, my name is Clinton Yeboah.
Now, the police recruitment exercise in the Greater Accra region has so far been orderly and successful, with applicants reporting a smooth documentation and body inspection process at selected centers across the region. The exercise is being conducted at 12 designated centers in Accra, 6 of which are operational today as authorities implement measures to ensure efficiency and safety. The revised recruitment process follows lessons from the Elwak Stadium stampede, where overcrowding during a military recruitment exercise led to the death of 6 people. To prevent a recurrence, the Ministry of the Interior decentralized the exercise and introduced a centralized digital application system through the centralized service e-recruitment portal. Applicants who spoke to JoyNews expressed satisfaction with the process and recommended that the approach be sustained for future recruitment exercises.
We all know the tragedy that happened with the military one. So initially I was kind of skeptical about how the whole thing is going to be. So when I got here, I realized, things were moving so fast as I was expected. Yeah, so like we're all going in like some badges, and like the queue was going fast. So far the process has been so.
I'll say the process was okay. Everything went very smoothly. I think it was well organized. We were provided with seats and we were given some water and snacks also. So I think it's a good process and everything went well.
It was calm and it was calm. It was really calm. Yeah.
So you didn't struggle to go through?
No, we didn't struggle at all. We were provided with snacks, water, and it was really calm and it was really good. As a matter of fact, what happened at the Elwak Stadium some time ago, we're thinking that we were going to be packed, but as we speak, we have morning session and then afternoon session. So we're able to contain the number of applicants that came this morning.
I would describe this process as one of the best process so far, although I didn't experience previous process, because the moment we came here, I came here around 5. When we came here, the officers were here, they arrange us, they give us number. Now around 6, then the senior officer, one of the senior officers came. They even give us drink, water, snack. They made us feel so okay, so welcome to be part of them. Yeah, it's not something that pressured them or we are here to pressure. No.
And it didn't even take you time to go through the process?
No, it didn't take time. The people were moving. The process was very smoothly. It was just moving step by step, step by step.
Stay for business.
Welcome back to Business here on JoyNews Today. My name is Winston Taki, and now to our first business story. The Bank of Ghana has revealed that it has opened a financial audit into the central bank's transaction, another gold for oil program run between 2022 and 2024. The Governor, Dr. Johnson Isiama, made a revelation at the Public Accounts Committee hearing on the Auditor General's report on foreign exchange receipt and payment at the central bank. First, listen to the Governor on how much the loss was incurred between 2022 and 2024 under both the Gold for Oil and the Gold for Reserve programs.
In 2022, the net losses for the Gold for Oil was about 74.44 million Ghana cedis. We did not have a net loss for the Gold for Reserves in 2022. Then in 2023, the net loss for the Gold for Oil was 317.69 million in 2023. On the other hand, the net loss for the Gold for Reserves, the losses in 2023 was 1,054.84 Ghana cedis. A little over 1 billion was the net loss for the Gold for Reserves in 2023. Then in 2024, the net loss for the Gold for Oil was 1.8 billion Ghana cedis in 2024. On the other hand, the net loss for the Gold for Reserves in 2024 was 3.8 billion Ghana cedis.
My colleague James Aveji joins me on Zoom for more update on this. Now, James, the governor says they have triggered an audit into the Gold for Oil program. Why?
Well, Winston, so the BOG governor indicated that from their initial look into the figures, it looks like the numbers are quite frightening, reason why as of May 2025, the BOG decided to terminate the contract under the Gold for Oil program. Now, the step they took in the last 2 months has been to give this to an external auditor to look into and make some recommendations. And he indicated that they have gotten a PPA approval 2 months ago to begin this auditing process.
Now, beyond this, how well are they structuring?
There were quite too many issues under the Gold for Oil that we needed to unearth. And therefore, the board authorized an external audit. We got PPA approval for the audit just about 2 months ago. And so that exercise is underway. In the case of the Gold for reserves, as the name suggests, the objective was to help us build reserves. Now, based on the data that NA has provided so far, the evidence is clear that it is not a question of shutting it down, but it's the question of enhancing its efficiency, looking at inefficiencies that you have to take out. And that is why we went after Gold Board. I also have a table here I can give to you. You see the reductions that we have brought to bear. Madam Chair, it will interest you to know, for example, that until last year, especially the exports of the small-scale gold sector, we were just lucky nothing happened before 2025. Because there was no insurance component after those consignments land at the destination country. And we had to insist that we needed to protect Ghana, even for that 5% that had to be paid. And so currently everything is paid before the consignment is lifted. Otherwise, there has to be an insurance guarantee. So going forward, let's look at these aspects that we can fix in the interest of the country. And it calls for a unified approach.
James, beyond this, how well are they structuring the Gold for Reserve program?
Well, he indicates that, in fact, this week there's a scheduled meeting between the Bank of Ghana and the Gold Board management in order to see how they can trash this out. You will recall that a week ago when Sami Jemfi was on Newsfile, he indicated that the plan of Gold Board is to see how they can take over this Gold for Reserve initiative fully from the Bank of Ghana so that they can run it independently from the Bank of Ghana. And so this meeting schedule for this week is expected to trash this and other issues out on how they can make this to bring more benefit to the country moving forward.
Thank you, James Alveji, for this update. We'll surely be following up on the committee's development from the House of Parliament. That'll be all for business. My name is Winston Taki. Up next is sports after this break.
We bring you sports now on JoyNews Today with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullah. The Ghana Olympic Committee have launched a 4-year strategic plan for development and promotion of sports in the country. According to President Richard Akpokove, this is a blueprint that will be used to govern sports in the country in the next 4 years. My colleague, Penty Newton-Jijo, was there and has details in this report.
Olympic Committee held a conference at the 4 Points by Sharon to unveil its 2025-2029 strategic plan. The document, prepared by consultant Mr. Chris Esifo, was launched by the NSA board chairman, Dr. Fred Awa. Speaking at the event, Dr. Fred Awa praised the GOC's commitment to proper planning and noted that government support is more efficient when federations have clear structured plans in place.
To get funding from the government, all federations and associations would have to replicate what the GOC is doing now. Documentations must be apt. We must see your plans because we cannot commit funds into ventures that we are uncertain of. And clearly the very way that you can do this is commit into writing like the GOC has done.
Speaking after the event, the Secretary General of the Ghana Olympic Committee highlighted the importance of the new strategic plan.
Now, we have said times without number that you cannot build without a foundation. So you need to set the structures, right? You need to make sure you have a plan as to where we are going. And if you look at the strategic plan, you will see that we have the 6 schematic areas. One is building capacity, empowering women, putting athletes at the center of what we do, and so on and so forth. So we need to know where we are going, the direction we want to go in the next 4 years. So what we are doing now is to make sure we put the structures. Look, I mentioned it earlier, that foreign countries pay experts to develop 3-page strategic documents for them. And we have the benefit of having experts in Ghana. They are unsung. People don't know them, like Chris Sophie. People don't know them, but they are here. And so we are using such persons that is whom we have used, him and his other colleagues. They put together this document to help us plan the next 4 years. So indeed, we cannot go ahead just working without a plan. We need to have a plan. That is the essence of today's gathering.
Also speaking to Joy Sports after the land, GOC President Richard Apokavi said the committee will engage its subcommittees and federations to fully internalize the documents and ensure everyone aligns with the strategic direction.
Well, we are going to have meetings and conversations with our subcommittees and the federations to make sure that everybody is aligned with what we want to do, and I'll be monitoring to make sure that we are able to get the federations to internalize, because it's important that they do that. Because if they don't do that, then we'll not be doing what we are supposed to be doing.
Everything the federations would want to do under this leadership of the Ghana Olympic Committee.
That is your sports for now. Head on to myjoyonline.com for some more sports stories. Up next is Showbiz.